All our lives, we've been told to go to school, get good grades, get a good job, and you'll be set. How's that working out for you? I'm TaVona Denise, physical therapist turned life and business coach, and I'm on a mission to help you create a life you love and a business on your terms. If you want more time, more freedom, more flexibility, I can help you create it. Welcome to Breaking Protocol, the show for women in healthcare who want more. Well, I finally did it. I turned in my letter of resignation. And I didn't realize it would be so hard. This all started when the census picked back up at the hospital and they started calling PRNs back to the hospital to help. And I realized then that I didn't want to go back, but I also didn't want to resign. So I wrote back in response that I wanted to sit the summer out. And the manager responded, we should probably have a conversation then. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I immediately panicked. I didn't want to say out loud what my heart already knew. That chapter of my life as a physical therapist was over. And you know how I actually knew that it was over? I was trying to tell one of my clients the phrase that I had said verbatim for over a decade so that the patients wouldn't freak out if I wasn't there the next day or wasn't assigned to their floor. And in that moment, I could not remember that phrase to save my life. I had said it hundreds, probably thousands of times over. I was at that hospital for 13 years, but I really coined the phrase maybe about a decade ago. And I couldn't remember it. It was completely gone from my brain. I was like, what is happening? Yeah, it's time to go. But knowing that it's time to go and actually admitting it out loud, telling someone else, let alone write a letter, making it final, that was a totally different story. So when she said, okay, we have to have this conversation then, I knew what I had to do. But I'm so glad that she insisted that I take a couple of weeks after I started to tell her what was in my heart and in my thoughts. Because the week we had that conversation was also the week that I lost my coworker to COVID. So she originally said on Monday, if you want to take the summer off, we should have a conversation. She called me on Wednesday to say that he had passed. Our conversation was supposed to happen on Friday, which it did. And after the conversation on Friday, I was a wreck. I cried harder than I have cried in a long time. And even as I'm telling you this now, I feel a little emotional. But at that time, I couldn't even tell if I was crying for Charlie, my coworker, or not wanting to let go of the position. And I think it was even deeper than that, like not wanting to let go of that part of my identity. Because somewhere in there, it hit me. Not too long ago, I was having a conversation with the PT who during our session said that although she loved patient care, she loved consulting more. And she loved her consulting business and what she was doing with those clients even more. And she said to me, she was like, this is the first time I'm admitting this out loud to anyone. I think this is the first time I'm admitting this to myself. And I think there's a grieving period. I think there's some grieving that needs to happen. And she was right. So I want to say this to you. If you're feeling like you're coming to the end of the road for your career in healthcare and you want to focus more on building your business, and you're struggling a little bit. I know what it feels like to be like, I can't wait to get out of here and have all of the goals and the dreams and unlimiting yourself and being able to travel and work with people all over the world and being able to make your own money. I get that. That part is really exciting when you think about what's possible. But it's also very scary to let go of the known, to let go of who you have been, what you know. And the way that I've been thinking about this lately over the last 2 years that I've been making the transition is it's kind of like the monkey bars. You remember the monkey bars when we were kids? And if you think about when you're on the monkey bars, I wish you could see me right now. But if you think about it, in order to get from one bar to move forward, to progress from one bar to the next, there's this point in time where you have both hands on bars, one behind you and one in front of you. And the only way to move forward is to let go of the bar behind you so that you can gain enough momentum to get forward to the next set of bars. And that's what it's like. So if you are feeling a little bit emotional as you're going through this process, when you are building your business and you have that excitement, but then the reality hits you like, hey, I got to let some things go, just understand that that's normal and be prepared to possibly go through a grieving process. Because we've given so much and invested so much into this profession, especially if you've been at this for a while and you're American. Think about how much of your identity is wrapped up in what you do. We spend 8 to 12 hours or more on the job. We spend time after the job sometimes writing notes or thinking about patients. And when people ask you, what do you do? I don't know about you, but for a very long time, and even now, we respond, I'm a blank. I'm a physical therapist. I'm a doctor. I'm an occupational therapist. I'm a nurse. How many times do you think you've reaffirmed that identity over the years? If you work in a hospital or a high volume clinic, imagine how many times you've introduced yourself by your profession. I was a PT for 19 years. Do the math. So no wonder it's such a challenge when we start our businesses. Even though we may be excited about the business or we're ready to get out of wherever we are, it's a challenge. It can be a challenge. With one of my clients, we spent the first 2.5, 3 months, I kid you not, just getting her used to and being able to and comfortable with introducing herself as the founder and CEO of The Healthy Hiker instead of a physical therapist. Just think about that. So here's something that I did that I really think helped me with this that I want to offer to you. When I went to Mastermind with the Life Coach School a couple of years ago, that's when I really wrapped my mind around, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to transition for real, no playing. I think it was interesting that year we got t-shirts, and on the front of the t-shirt, it said Life Coach. It said some other stuff, but what you could see predominantly was Life Coach. And at the end of the Mastermind, there were some extras, and I assumed that they didn't want to carry them home because they told us to take more. So I ended up with three t-shirts. And I wore that shirt that said Life Coach on the front of it almost every single day for almost a year, because I realized somewhere in there, first, I just loved the shirt. And I'm like, oh, it was one of the better shirts that I got. So I wanted to wear it quite frequently. But I realized that in doing that, it was helping me rewire my brain to the new identity of a life coach. So I'm not saying that you have to go out and buy a Life Coach t-shirt, although it might not be a bad idea, but at least try to start noticing how many times you say, I'm a fill in the blank. What's your profession? I'm a physical therapist. I'm a doctor. I'm a nurse. I'm a dentist, right? If you have to do it at work, that's fine. But outside of work, try to start introducing your new identity. And understand it's going to be a little clunky at first. It's going to feel foreign in your mouth. It's going to feel weird to you. Notice any resistance that you have to doing this. Like, I don't know what to say. It sounds silly. People are going to think I'm crazy, or whatever your thoughts are. This is super important because it makes it more difficult for you to embody and fully step into the next version of yourself when you keep attaching to the old identity. Which brings me to something else I see many of us doing when we say, okay, all right, I get it, TaVona. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to start my business. And we know that we need to figure out who our people are and what their problems are. So we reach back into our comfort zone and say, well, I'm really good about explaining complicated medical stuff to patients, or I have a soft spot for people with chronic illness and injury. So that's what I want my business to be. And I'm not saying that you have to toss everything you've been doing. I literally cannot I got rid of that phrase, but you really can't get rid of all of the information in your brain. You can't get rid of it. It's there. You don't lose it. I actually think it makes your experience as a coach even richer. But I'm also saying that I know that it feels safer to stick to what you know, what you're good at, but that doesn't help you grow. That's kind of like lifting the same amount of weights over and over and over again and expecting to get stronger. So my question to you is, if you knew you could create whatever type of business you wanted, working with whoever you wanted, what would you choose? Like, if you really gave yourself permission to turn the page in the healthcare chapter of your life, and you knew that it was okay to want what you want without a disclaimer, without anybody else's permission, what would you create? If you know that something needs to change and you want some support as you step into the next chapter of your life and business, enrollment is currently open for the Courage Circle Mastermind. Yes, it's named that for a reason. It's a 6-month intimate experience where I help you design the coaching or consulting business that you want. I help you create a marketing plan that feels doable, and you will know exactly what it takes to transition to full-time coach, if that's your goal. So during that time together, you will access an action plan to replace your income or step into your next revenue goal so that you can live the lifestyle you want. You will get access to the key daily practices to create more time and space for your business without giving up sleep, because you know I like my sleep, the gym or date night. My simple strategy for attracting potential clients online without having to slide into their DMs and instead having them come to you. Yes, it's a thing and you can do it. The exact recipe you need to become known as the go-to person for your expertise and have people reaching out to you for media opportunities like being on people's podcasts and being on their stages, even if they're a virtual stage. A simple yet powerful framework to help you increase your confidence and overcome overwhelm. Listen, I experienced, and I know many of you have experienced burnout. I don't want that happening in your business. Like, it makes no sense whatsoever to leave a company, leave a job, and then go and create burnout in your business. So we're going to talk about that. An easy to follow process to create a signature program that will sell and how to generate demand before you even create it. If you listened to the podcast a couple of weeks ago with Jenny, you will know that that's possible. She collected money before she even created the program. And for those of you all who like to research all the things, you'll get an exact list of tools, apps, and software you need to run your coaching business effectively. So you can stop wasting time on that. You can just make the decision and move on. And then finally, you'll get my method for using your experience as a healthcare professional, along with my sales process to confidently enroll clients in your programs without feeling pushy. So the logistics of it is it's a weekly 90-minute group coaching call with just 6 other people. You'll get 3 one-on-one calls with me to use anytime throughout the program to accelerate your results, because I want to literally be all up in your business. I will be giving you individualized feedback as you work through the program. So this is not a self-study. This is not just a random thing, so that you don't feel in the dark and you know exactly what you need to do. We start on August 11th and there are 4 spots left. So if you've been on the fence, now's the time. It's going to be so good. Until next time, friends.